Is this your king? Huh? Is this your king?
For 2 whole decades, SpongeBob SquarePants managed to stay on top of the cartoon world, prepping over shows like Regular Show, Benton, and even Adventure Time. But sadly, just like females, that works over time. You see, in 1999, a marine biologist released a show about a sponge who wears rectangle pants. That's right, according to 10th grade math, he's SpongeBob rectangle pants. But anyway, seemingly overnight, SpongeBob became an absolute icon. On the same level as Mickey Mouse or even Mario, SpongeBob became a staple of Nickelodeon. But why is that a show about a yellow sponge got so popular in the first place? Well, for one, there's its humor, which can appeal to both children and adults, combined with visual gags, one-liners, and of course the insane situation we find our characters in. I mean, where else could we watch a main character with a dumb BFF stretch around and we'll get back to that. But a staple of any great show is, of course, its characters. SpongeBob has a strong set of these characters, from Gary, the great big-eyed snail. You also got a bundaf, you know what I'm saying? To even a whale, Pearl. Oh, wait. Wrong picture. But each of these characters have their own unique looks and personalities that make them so memorable. Probably the most important of these being the iconic memes that came out of the show. Like this, or maybe this. And if you say you don't recognize any of these, you're either lying or live under a rock. Ironic. Memes like this help cement SpongeBob into internet culture and a new generation. It's moments like this that are still remembered to this day. All these elements put together helped build a massive fan base around the show. Soon after the original show creator Steven Hillenburg left the show, we began to see a serious decline in the show's quality. The first sign of this being the repetitivity. SpongeBob jokes used to be original. Steven Hillenburg and the original writers knew what jokes to use and when to use them. Now SpongeBob jokes are just this, over exaggeration. And when the jokes aren't exaggerated, they've been used many times before. Even the characters have been over exaggerated. They took one trait and ran with it all the way, which is why this SpongeBob isn't the same as this SpongeBob, because he had many other traits. I'm gonna say 2 names. Tell me what you think the plot of this is gonna be. SpongeBob and Mrs. Puff. I'm gonna assume you got it right. SpongeBob tries to get his driver's license again, but at the expense of the people around him. Instead of writing new jokes, they reuse the same joke but with a sillier face. We've seen SpongeBob struggle driving, but the problem now is that he's not even funny. He's just being outright annoying. The problem isn't the plot itself. The problem is that for 2 decades, we've seen this happen too many times. The new writers replaced actual jokes with visual gags that are barely even funny. They reduced SpongeBob to a show for actual babies. One of the reasons it's even popular is because of its wide range of influence, reaching kids and adults. When you just slapstick comedy, you're only appealing to kids. Every episode is like trying to create a memeable moment and feeling horribly. SpongeBob as a show lost its charm. We used to laugh along with SpongeBob, and now I get annoyed at him. Not to mention SpongeBob's comedy, which used to separate it from the rest of the shows during its time, is now blending it in. The only reason it's still even out there is because of how iconic it's been for years. Like I said before, every show has this. Nothing here is special. They just took it and ran with it. Instead of adding on it, they made this the show. Nothing to laugh at. I can barely even smirk at it. The reason this can work for other shows is because of how they build on it, using it to develop the comedy instead of it being the comedy. They use it as a crutch, making the slapstick humor work for them. We can't watch SpongeBob and laugh anymore. Instead, we watch it go, oh wow, smooth animation, then move on. SpongeBob became predictable. There are no more curveballs. I know a joke is coming. It's gonna be a super gross close-up or SpongeBob stretching out. We don't care for it anymore. SpongeBob uses what I like to call bailout jokes. Instead of writing smart like shows like Phineas and Ferb or Gravity Falls, they instead fall back on visual gag, or even worse, annoyance. I've said this once and I'll say it again. Patrick was and is pretty damn annoying, but so is SpongeBob. A prime example of this being the episode Seaman SpongeHater Club. In this episode, a group of side characters come together to vent about SpongeBob, like Mrs. Puffs, Plankton, and even that one Pickle Dude. Throughout the episode, the only thing for us to feel is annoyance. As we watch them all rant about a main character who we watch see make someone else bathe for just existing. In the past, Squidward used to get hurt due to his own mood. Always being negative made him a target for self-inflicted pain, but now he doesn't deserve any of this. SpongeBob constantly makes someone else the butt of the joke. Quite frankly, it's unbearable to watch. It isn't fun to watch SpongeBob ruin Mrs. Puff's day because he wants his driver's license for the 100th time. Watching SpongeBob hurt those around him for seemingly no reason isn't funny. That's a guy who stands for comedy are set pretty low. That's saying something. I just left the Ohio meme, so you know. And the worst part is that SpongeBob doesn't recognize the harm he's doing. He's oblivious to everything going on, which means he's also unapologetic. When someone else is hurt because of him, he's smiling, laughing, and running around with no consequences. Due to this, many longtime fans have dropped the show. I don't blame them. SpongeBob is its own worst enemy. The show itself is hurting its own longevity. Instead of addressing these problems, they just come out with more serious SpongeBob, like Camp Coral, or the horrible Patrick Star Show. The revivals don't revive the show. Ironically, they're what's aiding in its downfall. The only way to fix SpongeBob is to end it hasn't been fun or enjoyable for years. From being at the top of the cartoon world to where it is now has just been a sad sight. And I think it's fair to say that everything that once made SpongeBob so iconic is no longer with us. The quality of the writing reduced, the target audience changed drastically, and the characters along with everything in the show has become exaggerated. Heck, in my mind, SpongeBob ended 5 years ago.